A long dead, much respected punk musician is being called out for something that might call his respect into question, and he's being called out by another punk legend who happens to still be alive. So today, we're going to be talking about the Raybeez situation. But before we do, hey, hi, hello, my name is Dan Frampton, and this is my little YouTube channel. If you comment within the first 3 hours of this video going up, I will reply, and that's just a Frampton guarantee. I hope you're having a great day. This video is brought to you by my new comic book Pit Pros. You can check it out using the link in the description. Okay, yeah, so we gotta talk about this whole Raybeez situation, and for that we got to go over to John Joseph's Instagram page. John Joseph used to sing for the band Cro-Mags. He is now in the band Blood Clot, and 3 days ago he took to his Instagram page to call out Raybeez, who once was the lead singer of the band WARZONE. Raybeez was a New York legend in the hardcore punk rock scene. In 1997, we lost Raybeez when he died of pneumonia. The other guy we're going to be talking about in this story is Todd Youth, who is another hardcore punk rock legend who we lost a couple years ago, I think in 2018, when he lost his battle to addiction. So two of the people we're going to be talking about in John Joseph's story are no longer with us, and we can't really ask them questions to corroborate any of the claims being made in this post. I haven't heard from anybody else around this scene about this particular thing, and I haven't heard from any other victims chiming in about it. For now, basically, all I'm saying is this story is going to be confined to this one post, but it carries a lot of weight because of who these people are. John Joseph was the lead singer of the Cro-Mags and has a historied story in punk rock. I'm not here to get into all of that controversy today, but he is as a prominent figure in hardcore as you could possibly get. And the people who he's talking about, as dead and gone as they are, have a lasting legacy in DIY, punk rock, hardcore, New York, and basically all of American underground music. Jumping into the post, John Joseph says the following. It's a caption he added to this photo here. New York hardcore punks on Regis Philbin, The Morning Show, 1986 Part 1. And it says, one of the dudes in this photo was a predator of the worst kind in the New York hardcore punk scene. The truth is, while he was pretending to help young runaway boys and girls, he got them high on drugs and alcohol and took advantage of them. As a matter of fact, the guy on the right is Todd Youth, and he was one of Raybeez's victims when he came to the city in the 80s as a young runaway. I was in a band with Todd, and he told me that he'd never forgive Ray for what he did to him. He broke down and told me what happened. Todd went through a lifetime of addiction because of it and lost the battle in 2018 from... There's a lot of people who know these stories too. In fact, last week I was at a show with some old school New York hardcore dudes, and we talked about it. They admitted they heard the same things over the years. I mentioned this to a good friend of mine recently, and he told me a story about Ray, telling him, yo, let's get with these girls. My friend said they were around 13 or 14. He was like, I'm not doing that. Ray even took young hardcore kids over to the Pyramid Club in New York City where he worked to have sex with older gay men. The dude was the Jimmy Savile of hardcore, a fake public image while he destroyed kids' lives. And as someone who was taken advantage of as a kid in foster homes and suffered through decades of addiction to deal with it, he's lucky I found all this shit out after he passed away. I bit my tongue long enough, and after talking with those dudes last week, I said, that. This dude is getting put on blast. R.I.P. Todd Youth and all the other victims of who weren't able to work through their pain. That is a lot to digest. That is a lot to go through, especially considering that Raybeez has such a shining reputation in the scene. But John Joseph is also very legitimate. He's also very much in the scene and talks to the same kinds of dudes, runs in the same kinds of circles, is in the same kinds of bands. He says that he was in the same band as Todd Youth, and Todd Youth told him this personally directly. So there is a lot of legitimacy I'm seeing in this story. However, as somebody covering it on the internet that's a third party just looking at it, I have to say that it really is just he said, she said, hearsay type stuff. Having someone that was a direct victim talk to the person that is making this claim lends it a little bit more legitimacy than just somebody saying this stuff online. And when you're dealing with abuse and when you're dealing with predators of this kind, I'm not going to be the kind of person that says, hey, why didn't you talk about this earlier? Why are we only learning about this now? As if to discredit the entire story. People carry around this kind of pain and keep these kinds of secrets for so long, for so many reasons personal to them. And I'm not here to poke holes in any of that. I'm not here to say, well, if you knew this, then why didn't you say anything? Because that, in my opinion, is a very irresponsible thing to think in a situation like this. And unfortunately, 2 out of the 3 people that we're talking about in this story right now, we just simply can't ask. We simply just do not have their side of it. It's impossible to get it because they are dead. So this isn't really to hold Raybeez accountable. Raybeez is not around to be held accountable for anything. All this would really do now is kind of tarnish the reputation of Raybeez and the band, because Raybeez was seen as kind of a leader within that group of people. And since we only have one person's word in this entire story, that's all we can go with. Everybody in the comments have their own questions about it. People are obviously floored to hear this kind of news. But hypothetically, if Todd Youth was a victim of Raybeez and he just recently passed away, then there might be other victims out there of this guy. I understand coming out with this stuff is very hard and you might not feel like it's worth it because the guy is dead, but if you've been holding on to a story for a long time, this story is out now and there are open ears ready, willing, and able to listen to those stories. If you want to keep them private, I absolutely totally understand that, but if we could determine a pattern here from Todd Youth and other victims going on here, then we can at least say with a little bit more certainty how we should feel about this situation. Because right now it's just all so messy, so dirty, and if Raybeez really is the Jimmy Savile of hardcore, then he needs to be remembered as the Jimmy Savile of hardcore and not like this iconic frontman. But for right now, all I can say is this is where this situation is at right now. If there are any updates, I don't know if there can be, everyone's dead in this fucking situation. But if there are, then I'll try to update you one way or another. Thank you so much for watching. Please read Pit Pros, and until my next upload, watch another upload. Okay, take care and have a good one.